Right, everybody, I did have a totally different approach to this match preview where I was going to be digging today, but I thought I'd hold off and watch Bale's press conference. I'm glad I did. He was getting it in the comments, and then all of a sudden, the stream went down. Now, I can't remember the last time a live stream went down for a press conference, but Nick Barnes asked a question regarding the outside noise, and he answered it. I was surprised he answered it, but nonetheless he answered it. He said he's bemused and perplexed at the outside noise, meaning us, the fans, like why we're on his back, basically. And he says the players are aware of it. His focus is on the team. But I cannot understand why he shoots himself in the foot every single time. You didn't mention the fans, never, ever, ever, especially when results aren't gone your way. He said also that opinions, people didn't want him in there in the first place, and he'll probably not change people's opinions, even if results did go his way. So he's had a little dig back at the fans. He said that also under Tony Mowbray near the end, he says results weren't gone Sunderland's way either. They weren't the best of results. But the football was already though, and the footballs fell off a cliff under Bale, in my opinion. Do you know what he should have done, in my opinion? My opinion's note. But for what it's worth, he shouldn't have said a thing. When he got asked the question about the outside noise, all he had to answer was, my focus is on the team. I don't listen to any outside noise, any criticism regarding the players or me or the team. And my focus is on developing these players and getting the best out of them. On to the next question. That's what he should have said. But no. Oh my God. It's when things have gone so bad for us at the minute regarding performances on the pitch. The whole game, second half was, oh my God, it was shocking. And also the appointment of Bale. No one wanted him. No one wants him. Everybody wants him to be sacked. But then you've got to look above that. Regarding transfers, Bale got asked, he said, what about the striker situation? He says, I came here to work with the players that's already here. He says, there's 4 number 9s there, and I've got to work with them. Then he went on to say, Speakman will come in to talk to us after me about the transfers. So that when it comes to transfers and off the field matters like that, you've got to look higher than Bale. And day 25 into the window, and we still haven't signed a striker. That's another joke. I say this every transfer window. We'll always leave it very late. Or then we'll go into a transfer window with knee fullbacks like we did under Speakman. When was it? The start of the League One season. I think it was the one we got promoted in the end. But we started that season with knee fullbacks. I remember that. And then we didn't replace Flanagan at the time with a centre-back. We didn't bring another one in. But luckily we got away with that. And it's hopefully we can get an experienced striker in, a defensive midfielder, and maybe if play a wing back, which gone off what the Barnsley supporters says that's his best position. He said he's a good player, but it's a bit salty between them and him because he's been wanting to leave since he had his loan spell at Millwall. So his attitude's not the best according to the Barnsley supporters. So that's the reason why they want him to go. But other than that, they said he's a good player. His best position is probably his wing back. And if that's the case, then probably do a winger, a striker, and a defensive midfielder. But we're leaving it literally 5, 6 days to go, and there's not a body in the door yet. Obviously, the only departures being Jack Diamond, but nonetheless, there's still no one in. So I want to quickly talk about Hull. Hull was absolutely diabolical, and what made it even worse, Hull were without 9 first-teamers. Then again, if they had the 9 first-teamers in, they might have changed this style of football. They might have probably went for us a little bit more. But we made it pretty easy for them. We were lacklustre all over the pitch. It was diabolical. The football's dropped off a cliff from last season. I'm not going to lie. It really has. Even the start of this season, it's absolutely dire to watch. And I'm worried about playing Stoke. They've beat us this season. They demolished us last season under Alex Neil, 5-1. And I'm a little bit worried. Gooch, in his interview, has tried to hype it up a little bit. And he says we shouldn't fear them. We've got nothing to fear. We've got to get right at them. And we've beat them this season and they've beaten them at their place last season. So he's right in the sense that they've got nothing to worry about. Under though, he got a few decisions wrong in his last game for Stoke. I'll quickly go on to Stoke now. In a few decisions wrong in his last game, there's a few players who didn't have the best of games. However, he got absolutely destroyed off Dembele from Birmingham. But it's just our luck really, isn't it? Mowbray has hit the ground running under Birmingham. They beat Stoke 2-1. And I know the referee wasn't the best in that game, I'm not going to lie, but still, it's funny how swings and roundabouts happen and then Mowbray is cracking on with Birmingham. But, and anyway, back to Stoke. In the last 15 games in all competitions, they've only won 2 games. Rotherham and, funnily enough, Birmingham. So Stoke, 32 points. They're 19th. They've scored 27 goals, but they've conceded 34 goals. They are shipping in a lot at the back. Form sees them down in 19th at home, 13th away from home, and overall 7th in the last 5 games. Players we have got to watch, and I hate saying this because every time I do, they tend to score. Vidal has got 5 goals. Luke Kundle has only made 2 appearances for them, but he's got 3 goals, 5 assists for Plymouth. Ryan, apologies if I butcher this, me, 3 goals, 2 assists. He had a bad game in the last game, a terrible game to be honest. Johnson was on the bench in the last 2 games. He's got 2 goals, 2 assists. Medi, Thomas and Gooch all have 2 goals, this season. Me personally, I think it's going to be a tough game. Hopefully for Bale's sake, we can get an early goal. Because if we concede first, it'll go toxic. It already is a little bit toxic over there to start with, but it'll be really toxic come Saturday. Me personally, I didn't think they're going to sack Bale regardless of performances. We're not going to get relegated. We only are 3 points off the top 6, and you know me by now, I like to clutch at straws. So come Saturday, I think it's going to be a very, very, very tough game. Obviously, Gooch, he knows all about us. Funnily enough, Michael Graham put a tweet out regarding Alex Pritchard, and now the club are going to end up burning bridges regarding Alex Pritchard's contract, and Gooch liked it. Gooch liked that tweet, and it was a bit of an eye-opener. Why would Gooch like a tweet regarding Alex Pritchard's contract? But nonetheless, I still think it's going to be a tough game. We've got to get an early goal for Bale's sake, because if we done it and we concede, it will get toxic over there. And I didn't blame it if it gets toxic over there. We've been treated as Sunderland supporters at the club at the past couple of weeks has just been, some would say, unforgivable. Obviously, it's a results-driven business, so if we start picking up victories and the whole game was the last of our dip in form, and now we can start looking up. We're only 3 points off the top 6. Let's have it right. If we win and results go our way, we can see ourselves going back up the table. You know what I mean? It's a very tight league at the minute. So it's not all doom and gloom. It's not all dead and buried, but it isn't the best. I'm not going to lie. I'd still want Bale to go. But then what will that change though? Because it's still Speakman and KLD who's gone again for a similar type of person to take over. Somebody who's free and somebody who's a head coach, where they can make the rules over the head coach and he can just deal with the players. And that's all Bale's brought here today, is to get the best out of the team. And that is it. He doesn't have any say on recruitment or any say on who leaves. So sack him, we'll just be back to square one. But for me, still, he has to leave. He has to go on. We need somebody else in the door. It's just the football's dire for me. It's absolutely dropped off a cliff. His substitutes, his lineup isn't one to be desired. Recently, he's been getting players wrong. Like a player can have a game of his life, he'll get dropped. Rusin will score his first goal, next game dropped. So as a head coach, you've got to understand you're just dampering their development, doing things like that, in my opinion. Right now, my lineup, I know we never do this because we can never get it right, but it's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to predict my lineup and who I would like to play. So I'm going to go for Patterson in goal, Adji if he's fit on the left, then Ballard, Silt, Nash. I like Triantis, but obviously Silt is ahead of him in development and he'll come in. Hume, obviously at right back. Then Neil and Etwer. Right, listen, I'm going to give Etwer another shout, another chance. I know he's been terrible for weeks, but in my eyes, I want him to succeed. They've made a song and dance about him on social media recently, the club have, and hopefully it's upped his confidence and he can be the same player he was before his injury. Dan Neil, Dan Neil's mint. He's been mint for a long time. If he gets in a Premier League team, we'll see the best out of him with the players and a better head coach or a manager around him. You will see much more from Dan Neil, but for me personally, the instructions to Dan Neil need to change. He needs to make forward passes, the killer passes. Same with Pritchard, who I would play just behind Rusin as our striker. Now, the two wingers, obviously, if Roberts is fit, which we were told that near the end of January that he may be fit, if not him, Bar obviously can come in and Clark on the opposite side. That's my lineup. Let us know yours. And my score prediction is I want the lads to win. I really do. I don't think they will. If they're going off the outside noise, it's taking a toll on the young players. The performances hasn't been the best. There's been rumours regarding Pritchard and the management and arguings left, right and centre. Just something just not right. I cannot see it happening personally. Oh, it's a tough one, this. I'm going to go for a Sunderland 1, Stoke City 1. Right, that's it from me. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you're brand new to the channel. I'll see you in the next video, which will be Stephen's preview.